Very good morning to my dear students. We know that every day we are exposed to chemicals and pollutants through air or food or water. There are chemicals in everyday products we use at work, at home, and at play. While some chemicals may be beneficial to our health, but many may pose a health risk if they are not handled properly. Why I am saying all these points? Because we are learning and we are understanding some chemicals what we use in our day-to-day life to make our life easy, convenient and fantastic. It's a short-term enjoyment, it is a short-term happiness. But the more we use chemicals, the more health effects are there on the human body. Nature has given wonderful natural chemicals in the form of leaf, flower, bark, seed, but we don't use it because life has become so fast. We are moving on wheels actually, not on our legs. So, because of this fast life, we have to depend on certain methods, certain chemicals which are artificial, which are synthetic, which are fast. So in doing so, the other part, the other side, because every coin has two faces. So one face we are enjoying, the other face we have to wait. So with this, I welcome you all for today's session on what? On the continuation of polyhalogen compounds. So in our yesterday's session or in our previous session, two chemicals we understood. What are those two chemicals and how they are prepared in short, and main important part is their impact on human health. Ultimately, we want to enjoy life. Okay, if the health permits, we can enjoy life for many years. Otherwise, we have to suffer. That is my main concern. So, out of the chemicals, what we studied in the this chapter, 6 chemicals, 2 we learnt yesterday, and in the today's session, we are going to understand their preparation part, their use part, and the main is, once again I am repeating, main part is what? Harmful effects of these chemicals on the human health. So once again, with a good note, with a good wishes, I am welcoming all for today's session on the remaining 4 important polyhalogen compounds. And the third important is iodoform, chloroform, iodoform. Okay, chloroform CHCl3, iodoform CHI3. Okay, right. And it is prepared by the two methods using alcohol or the acetone. So this is our iodoform. Iodoform is very useful. It has got antiseptic nature, disinfectant property. Okay, so because of this antiseptic property or the disinfectant property, it is employed in the medical treatment, especially on the wounds where skin problems are there, or wounds dressing. So iodoform is employed. Okay, and it has got a kind of a medical odor. So in the earlier, iodoform was a super hit disinfectant or skin treatment chemical. But the only problem is it has got a distinct odor. This odor we don't like it. Okay. So because of unpleasant odor, we don't like it. Other one is what? The other one, there are some other related problems of iodoform. Iodoform along with freons, they happens to be toxic on the human body, not only on the human body, on the environment, okay, which are causing nausea, dizziness, okay, and our CNS, central nervous system, heart, kidney, main important organs are damaged, okay. So because of the damage on the core organs of our human body, so now iodoform is not playing that much role as a medicine, as a disinfectant. Okay, so we avoided. Nowadays, in medical industry, in the medical treatments, variety of what skin ointments are available, especially with the sulfur. That's why we avoided iodoform as a what disinfectant. Okay, right. This is the structure of iodophor. Right. Now we'll go to the what fourth one, two over third over. Now this is the fourth. I think this is the fourth chemical, carbon tetrachloride. Okay. So carbon tetrachloride is prepared by various methods. One famous method what we saw in 11th class, it was on the free radical mechanism, chlorination of methane. Okay, one of the products was carbon tetrachloride. Not one of the products, the end product of the chlorination of methane is carbon tetrachloride, that is shown here. Okay, or by the direct combination of methane and chlorine we get carbon tetrachloride. Okay, or one more way is there, using the AlCl3 as a catalyst and carbon disulfide, okay, with direct combination with chlorine we get carbon tetrachloride. So either by this method or any method you follow, so get the carbon tetrachloride, because it has got some use. What are the uses? Mainly it is used as a solvent. I told yesterday or in our previous session that most of the organic liquids are best solvents where some chemicals are unable to dissolve in water. Those chemicals are made in organic solvents to dissolve, because those chemicals will find application as a medicine, but they are not soluble in the water. What to do? So we depend on the other chemicals, organic solvents, where they are soluble. Okay, so that's why organic chemicals find applications as a solvent. Now, one more important property or the use of carbon tetrachloride is it is used in fire extinguisher agent, as an agent. It is used under the name pyrin. Dense fumes of carbon tetrachloride will cover the where the fire breaks up is there. So when it covers the fire, that it is making what, it is not allowing the air contact, because for burning we require support of combustion, air or the oxygen. So this carbon tetrachloride fumes will cover that area, so not allowing the air to react with or to support the burning, and automatically fire comes under the control. And this is what, one more area, this is this word we use where a particular chemical is used as a drug to treat the animals in the veterinary. Okay, but now because of its some side effect, we don't use this as a drug to treat the parasitic effects of animals in the veterinary. Okay, because it has got some problem with the liver. Excuse me. So it is damaging the liver. So and also carcinogenic, cancer causing. That's why it is not employed nowadays. Some other chemicals which are friendly, not so friendly, some are friendly compared to carbon tetrachloride. So now we use some other chemicals in the veterinary. Okay, right. Now you see other problems: liver, kidney, CNS, headache, weakness, lethargy, nausea, vomiting. See how many list is endless. So pulmonary edema. Edema is a kind of a swelling. Okay, cell swelling, a particular part is swelling. So that is what, if pulmonary edema is there, so it is a straightaway problem to the heart only. That's why we avoid carbon tetrachloride use. We limit it. We don't stop, because we can't stop using chemicals, because we are dependent totally on the chemicals or the plastics. So what to do? We can minimize as we can limit the use of chemicals. Okay. Now there are some chronic long run effect. These are immediate effect. These are chronic means what, long run. It will be there with us lifelong. Okay. So they may cause a kidney problem. Okay. Or no, but the important so what observation is what, birth defects have not been observed in animals exposed to carbon tetrachloride by inhalation or ingestion in animals. Okay, so there is one good news. That means we can employ, okay, for a short period, not a long run. Every day, let us not use for the animals. Okay, so that is the plus point. And this is the carbon tetrachloride structure like methane, pure tetrahedral. Okay, right. Now, the most important polyhalogen compound of ethane or the methane or the aldehyde alkaloids are freons. Okay, so freon, the trademark, it is actually a market name or the brand name or the customer name coined by some company. Okay, so what it says, freons, any of several simple fluorinated aliphatic organic compounds that are used in commerce and industry, they are called as freons. In addition to fluorine and carbon, that means freons mainly they contain carbon and the fluorine. Apart from carbon and the fluorine, they also contain hydrogen, chlorine, bromine. Okay, so thus freons are types of chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, or hydrochlorofluorocarbons, HCFCs, and related compounds, not related to the or derivatives of CFCs and the HCFCs. They are called as freons. But in short, in one sentence, we can define what are freons. Freons are what? The chlorofluoroderivatives of methane and ethane are called freons. Mainly methane, ethane derivatives are used. Other hydrocarbons are used, but methane, ethane are the best hydrocarbons are the alkanes to prepare the freons. Okay, so this is a very simple definition or the simple meaning for the freons. Now, how freons are named? They are named depend upon the number of halogen, which halogen? Fluorine, especially fluorine. Okay, so keeping a fluorine number, we employ it. So here is the what IUPAC made some nomenclature rules for the freons. So freons are represented using formula freon CBA. What is CBA? C means number of carbon atoms minus 1. That is C. What is B? B is number of hydrogen atoms plus 1. And what is A? Total number of fluorine atoms. Okay, one example here. CFCl3. In C, number of carbon atoms are 1. So what is C here? Number of carbon atoms minus 1. 1 minus 1, 0. Then what is B? Number of hydrogen atoms plus 1. How many hydrogen here? No hydrogen. So 0 plus 1, 1. And what is A? Total number of fluorine atoms. How many fluorine atoms here? Only 1. So F is 1. So how it is named? It is named as 1, 1. So freon 1, 1, or in place of freon nowadays we are using R, refrigerant, R11. So this one indicates what? This one indicates that which value? B value, and this sorry this halogen value. Okay, A, and the other one is what? H value here. This H plus 1, that is B value, and A value. A value, what number of fluorine atoms. So depend upon the CBA value, we name it as, we name the freons. Okay, let us take one more example, CF2 Cl2. Okay, here number of carbon atoms are 1, so 1 minus 1, 0. So number of one more what? B, hydrogen atoms. So no hydrogen atoms, 0 plus 1, 2. Fluorine atoms, there are fluorine atoms here 2. So that means it is named as 1, 2, 1, 2, freon 1, 2, freon 12, R12, like that. So and so on. So this is the nomenclature made by the IUPAC, easy to remember. In the industry, they don't keep all those names of oxy, difluoro, dichloro, like that. Okay. So use it to make simple naming. So companies have made this arrangement. So accordingly, it is named using the freon CBA. Okay, right. Now, one sample will understand how the freons are prepared. Okay, so by taking the freon 12 as an example, freon 12 means what? Freon 12 means dichlorocarbon. It is a chlorofluorocarbon compound. So brand name is freon 12. How it is prepared? By the action of HF on the carbon tetrachloride in the presence of antimony pentachloride as a catalyst. We make freon 12 or difluoro, dichloro, or dichloro, difluoro, using the IUPAC alphabetical order, dichloro, difluoro, carbon or the methane. Okay, right. Now this is the main area. Why freons are used? Freons main property is what? It can take the heat like anything. So they act as a coolant, refrigerant. Okay. So plus they have got some additional property. They are highly stable. They are unreactive. They are non-corrosive. They are non-toxic. They are easily liquefiable. So because of these plus points and cooling effect, now in a cooling system they are employed like anything, whether it is air condition or the refrigeration in a small scale at the home level, or on a large scale in the mall or the dairies or in the any hall. So they find many applications. So freons are widely used in tons, they're using nowadays. Okay, right. So freons are used in refrigerants, in refrigerators and in air conditioners. It is used as a propellant for aerosols and the foam. So foams are polymers. Okay. So to make a foam, to make aerosol, the freons are used as a propellant. What is propellant? In rocket technology, we use this word. Okay. To propel, to move forward. So that means some chemicals are made to move forward, to flow forward in the form of spray by dissolving in a particular solvent. That time they will find application. Okay. They are called what? Propellant. It is used as a propellant again for foams to spray out deodorants, that is perfumes, shaving creams, and the insecticides. See, we go for a function, no, we use perfumes or the deodorants. That time you will enjoy, but long run is what? Long run is they cause some problem to the human life. Okay. Now we enjoy, but in future we suffer. This is the formula. Okay, right. Now see, there are many other problems of the freon: breathing difficulty, fluid buildup in our lungs, organ damage, like continuous exposure, sudden death, irritation of our eyes, ears, throat, headache, nausea, vomiting. This is a frostbite. What is frostbite? Frostbite is whenever we expose our skin to the sudden cooling. For example, in the cold countries, a cold area like Jammu Kashmir, if you don't take proper care, and if you play some activities in the snow area, so due to the sudden cold, our skin will have some blisters, or it will crack, some kind of a snow bite that will happen to the skin. That is called a frostbite. Same thing happens when our skin is exposed to the freons, because freons will what their role is coolant, so sudden cooling on the skin will give some problem to the skin. That is called a frostbite. Okay. And a cough also, a chemical burn. I'll tell same thing. Frostbite or the chemical burn, dizziness, all these are problems, and these are the two main problems that is causing to the environment. These are on human life. This is what? This is to the environment. What are those? The number one is freon gas is a very powerful greenhouse gas. So greenhouse gas is what? It will trap the heat reflected by the earth. Okay, whenever sun gives heat, so when it reflects back, that time if freons are there in that area, so it will hold, it will trap, making that area hot. Okay, day by day, week by week, year by year. That is the reason for global warming. Okay, that is one. Second is what? A freon moves throughout the air. Its chemical ingredients causes depletion of ozone layer. Okay, so freon can move easily in air. If that goes to stratosphere of the covers of our earth, then it will damage the stratosphere. It will react with the ozone, and it will consume the ozone. It will remove the ozone from the stratosphere. So stratosphere contains ozone, and the ozone acts as a natural umbrella. So when the umbrella is removed, then direct sunlight comes on the skin and the human life, which are causing problem to the skin cancer, or the soil problem, or the on the plants and the crop, on the old buildings. So there are many problems from the acid rain and from the direct hit of the sunlight without filtration. So ozone filters, it acts as a filtrate, or it does filtration work, or it acts as umbrella, cover, envelope. So you can use many words for the ozone in the stratosphere. If that cover shield is removed, then we are exposed to the danger, right? So that is the main. One is what? Greenhouse effect or the global warming. Second is it is removing the ozone from the stratosphere. That is the main problem. See here, this is the area what? This is the how it consumes through the free radical mechanism. See how ozone is consumed by the chlorine free radical, initiation, propagation, termination. Okay, so all the steps are there. this is extra I given you, how the ozone is consumed by the freons by the free radical mechanism. That's why the reason number 1. Now you see when the ozone from 1974 to 2006 and in future also. So the blue spots indicates what? Ozone is depleting, ozone is disappearing, ozone is going, okay, day by day or year by year. It is seen yearly, they observe. NASA or in India also there are some scientific team is there. So they keep observation the amount of ozone in the stratosphere. So the report says that year by year ozone is disappearing. The more the blue, less is the ozone. Okay, that is the ozone hole. Ozone holes are created. What is ozone hole? Hole means what? That in that area amount of ozone is disappeared. That is called ozone hole. Okay, when hole is there in our cloth, that is that part cloth is not there, like that. So in the stratosphere, ozone hole means what? Amount of ozone is disappeared. So the more blue means it is danger. So by 2054, most of the earth is not having any ozone. Then you have to go for some other method, or you have to suffer. Suffering is guaranteed. That is the indication given by the scientific team. Be ready for that. Okay. Otherwise, don't use more freons. Don't depend upon the good old methods of the matka or the any other method for the air conditioning or the refrigeration. Okay. Right. Now the last chemical of the polyhalogen compound, DDT. Long form of DDT is what? It is dichloro diphenyl trichloroethane. That is DDT. And this is normal we say, but the correct IUPAC name is what? You can name it. So first number it 1, 2. This is the longest chain. Okay, these two are the side chain, right? So on the 1 there are 3 chlorine. So it is 1, 1, 1 trichloro, 1, 1, 1 trichloro. And on the second carbon there are 2 phenyl groups are there. So for the 2 we use the word bis tris. Please recall IUPAC nomenclatures of 11th class. So 2 bis and the chlorine is on the para position. Therefore para chlorophenyl. Okay, so it is 2 bis para chlorophenyl ethane, and in short diphenyl. It is named as diphenyl. This is the correct IUPAC. This we use it in our day-to-day life, or in short it is called DDT. Once again, 1, 1, 1 trichloro, 2 bis para chlorophenyl ethane, or in simple way diphenyl trichloroethane, or still in short it is DDT. It is prepared by the action of what? Chloral on chlorobenzene. Take the 2 moles of chlorobenzene, okay, then 1 mole of chloral. What is chloral? Chloral is the removal of 3 hydrogen from the estradiol by the chlorine, that gives the chloral. So by the action of chloral on the 2 moles of chlorobenzene, this H is actually shown here. All these CH only, but H is shown for the understanding of reaction. So H from the CH area, and this O comes out as H2O, and directly the chloral molecule attached to the 2 chlorobenzene unit, and making it is DDT. In this way DDT is prepared. Now why we have to learn about DDT? Because it has got plus points as well as the minus points. Earlier we learnt about the plus points, and afterwards we learnt about the minus points. So we have to understand and we educate the people if still they are using DDT. Okay, right. Now please see here about the DDT plus points and the minus. More are minus points only. More are disadvantages. Okay. So DDT, the first of the chlorinated organic insecticide. This has got an insecticide property, seedal property. Seedal is killing. So insecticide is insect killing. So it kills the insects, it kills the pests. Therefore it is employed as an insecticide or pesticide. But for the first time, who said? Paul Muller. He said in the year 1939, DDT has the insecticide property. Earlier we prepared it, but we are not knowing the property of DDT as insecticide or as a pesticide. It is the Paul Muller who said this has got the insecticide property, and we used this DDT as an insecticide for many years, okay, by many countries all over the world. For this, he was got a Nobel Prize for saying that this has got insect head property. Okay, so at that time we are not knowing what this other part of the DDT, but especially for the malaria, to cure malaria, uh, malaria is controlled by this DDT. When we were small, health officials used to come to the village and they used to spray DDT in the house to control the DDT and the typhoid. So mainly DDT, sorry, mainly malaria. Okay, but what to do? Every coin has got two faces. One is plus point, one is minus point. Okay, so now DDT has got some problem. Okay, what is the problem? What are the minus points of DDT or health hazards on human health? So following exposure to high doses, human symptoms can include vomiting, tremors, okay, or shakiness, seizures. This seizures is a kind of a disease related to the brain. It is about the epilepsy. Okay, so we get fits if you expose our body to the what DDT, and other main problem is what DDT is considered a possible human carcinogen. Many cases of cancers due to the DDT are recorded in the medical history. So America, Russia already banned use of DDT production and use, as well as even India also banned. Most of the countries banned DDT as a, because now other eco-friendly or best insecticides available in the market. So why to depend on DDT? But still, in some part of the world, DDT is used unofficially. Okay, only thing is we have to educate them. We have to tell the property or the harmful effects of DDT. Then only they will come to know. That's why we have to learn DDT. Officially, it is banned, but unofficially, in some area, not all, in some area it is used. So kindly educate whenever you come across the use of DDT in the fields or in the house. Kindly educate them. So my dear students, we learnt a lot about the four important chemicals, polyhalogen compounds. So I think we are almost completed the first chapter of the second part, organic chemistry, 12th class. So in our next session, we learn one more important chapter of the second part, organic chemistry. So till then, have a nice time. Thank you, my dear students.